Hello and welcome to the Moonrise Human Design YouTube channel. We're so happy that you're here learning about human design from us today. In this video, you can expect to learn more about the 5-1 profile in human design. What this means, these two numbers, we're going to talk about the 5 and the 1 individually. And then actually at the end of the video, we'll talk about the interplay between them and how that will help you figure out your role and your purpose in this life.
This Moonrise Human Design channel is a space for you to explore, to experiment with, and to contemplate human design. We view human design as a really effective vehicle to coming back into yourself, to exploring, understanding, and finding more self-compassion so you can also be a more loving, compassionate version of yourself to others. My name is Sam Fotenhauer. I'm an embodiment coach, intuitive, and human design teacher based in Austin, Texas.
My name is Nadia Last. I'm a therapist and I love teaching human design as well. The interplay of those systems continues to fascinate me. And together we created Moonrise because we wanted to offer a lot of different offerings for you to learn about this system, but also to contemplate it, to be with it, to meditate on it, and to ultimately get you into self-trust and love. And we have a lot of different ways to do that. You can binge watch or take your time with all the content that exists on this YouTube channel. We have a podcast that we share a lot about human design IRL, a lot of conversations about human design that are very juicy, a lot of personal shares as well, which is beautiful. We also have very personalized guidebooks that you can purchase on our website, download. There's a lot of information in those. And we offer a human design training course. Please join this course if you're called to learn human design from us. We lead both live and self-paced versions of this a couple times a year.
It's great. We've done it many times and it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Let's get into it. So Nadia, what is a profile?
A profile in its essence is basically the archetype of how your personality is here to work. And learning about your profile will help you recognize, how do I share my gifts with the world? Here are my gifts in human design, which you can read more about in your guidebooks or readings or anything else. But your profile tells you, like, this is the vehicle with which you share those through. So learning about the 5-1 profile today will help 5-1s recognize, like, this is how my gifts will be best shared externally.
From a mechanics perspective, profiles are numbers, right? It's like a fraction. So you're a 5-1. What that means, how it works, is that there's 6 different lines in the profile. That's what they're called. Line 1, line 2, line 3, all the way up to 6. And everybody has 2 different lines. You have your first line and your second, and the order matters. So if you start with a 5th line, that means that you're a little bit more connected to that quality of yourself. It's going to be a little bit more conscious and something that you're likely more able to resonate and see in yourself. The second number, we call this your unconscious line in human design. This is your 1 line, is something that is more of a supporting actor. Still important, still a big part of who you are, but likely other people view it in you more easily than you view in yourself.
Yeah, really well said. So the first number is the one that you lead with. The second number is the one that supports that. And they actually toggle back and forth.
We are going to talk about each line. So let's start with the 5th line, the Heretic.
Yeah. And I just want to say, I love the 5-1 profile. I'm married to a 5-1 profile. So if you are a 5-1 profile or you know one in your life, feel free to send this to the 5-1s. I think it's so important for 5-1s to understand and feel empowered by their energy because they can receive a lot of projections. So let's get into what that means. Yeah. The 5th line is called the Heretic in human design. That can be a very confronting word to hear. But heretical energy simply means that you are a problem solver. You are a solution bringer. You are here to mutate our world in some way in the lanes that you find uniquely interesting to you. People will be able to feel the solver energy from you when you walk into a room. They'll be able to sense, wow, that person can fix things for me or for the world. And so you're receiving these projections from other people of like, fix this for me, almost like a savior complex sometimes, which sounds intense. Wherever you go into, you'll be able to find solutions. It's important that you spend time outside of the projections of others to recognize, what are the problems that I really want to be solving?
Just because you can fix something doesn't mean that you should. People see you as very capable, and you are. You have this innate ability to solve problems. But that doesn't mean that all these problems are a good use of your energy, because if you're solving everyone else's, you might miss the call for the thing that you're uniquely here to solve. Also, because you have these projections, people will sometimes cast you in this role as a savior in ways that you can't fix, in ways that you're not able to address those issues. And then that can get into this place where you feel like you're pedestaled and then you're deflated. You can feel the disappointment from others, and that can be very painful. Fifth lines often have to work through their relationship with people pleasing. Notice where they might be stepping into a problem solver role or a savior role because of other people's pressure, and kind of work in, what does it look like to commit myself to the things that I really want to and step back from the things I don't, even if other people don't fully get it.
Yes, so well said. And as a fifth line, the heretic language makes sense when you understand you are here to bring universalizing solutions. What that means is that you have the energy to sort of stand up against the status quo, the mainstream. Like, this is the way that we've always done things. The heretic is able to say, actually, I have this heretical idea that goes against the grain a little bit, but will progress us forward. There's a better way of doing this. And as a fifth line, you might find that you're naturally scanning the world around you to find better ways of doing things, like problems that need solving.
Fifth lines have this universal solution lens. And so it's like, here's one thing that we can try that's going to impact a lot of people. And they have this special energy where their ideas, their solutions are meant to be dispersed. So they're meant to impact people on a large scale. They're meant to influence strangers. I like to think of the fifth line as a TED Talk. Brene Brown is a fifth line, who's a researcher and TED Talker that I love, an author. And you will go to a TED Talk, you'll watch a TED Talk video. You might know nothing about the speaker, have never heard of them before, but you'll listen to their solution, the way that they're addressing and thinking of a problem, and it'll stick with you. And then the next day or the next year or 5 years later, you'll be telling someone about the TED Talk, and it gets dispersed that way. You may be telling them in a way that's mostly right, but kind of like shifts it a little bit because there's this game of telephone. And that's also part of the fifth line quality. For ideas to disperse quickly and for them to go a lot of places, people will see themselves in you and your idea, and then they'll take it and run with it in that way to share it, which might mean that you sometimes are like, I feel like I'm not being fully understood. I feel like only part of me is being seen. And that is one of the challenges. It's like, on the plus side, you have this ability to influence a lot and to get this idea out there quickly. On the downside, there can be a feeling of, I'm not fully witnessed for who I am underneath.
Which is what brings us now into the second part of the profile, which is your one line. And being a one line is what's called the investigator. And so you will be constantly kind of shifting between these parts of yourself as you balance your personality, these two, not competing parts, complementary parts. But the one line is a little bit more insular, where the fifth line is saying, I'm the army general, I have a new idea, let's march forward this way. The first line is actually taking a lot of time to research, to collect information, and to become an expert. So as the first line, you are designed to actually create a secure foundation of knowledge.
The first line, the investigator wants to learn. It has a lot of questions. And it doesn't want to learn about everything. There'll be certain things that pique your interest, but those things you will go deeply in. You will likely go much deeper than most people around you, and you likely won't even realize it. You'll think that that's normal. And until you start sharing and talking about the information, you realize, oh wow, I actually have quite a depth of knowledge here. It's so important that first lines give themselves permission to dive deep into things that inspire them, to unabashedly read the books, go down the Wikipedia hole, listen to the podcasts, find the teachers, and fully submerge themselves. There's a reason they're drawn to those things.
So well said. Yeah, the first line, you are designed to be an expert, and you want to be. So ask yourself, what am I curious about? What do I love studying because it fascinates me? What brings me a certain amount of joy to just dig into a rabbit hole, to go deeper and deeper and deeper? And as a first line, you are a lifelong learner. There will never be enough for you to learn, which is great. And also, as you are pursuing this path of lifelong study, you are also designed to start to share your information with others. Think of a professor at a university who is going into very deep graduate level study about a lane of research, and yet they're still teaching undergraduate students along the way. The catch-22 of being a one line is that you realize that there's always deeper to go informationally, and yet your 20% of understanding of a subject is another person's 110%.
Yes. And so you have to start sharing. You often have to start sharing before you're ready. And because you'll just want to wait till you know everything or it still feels perfect. But actually, one, the sharing allows you to develop your thinking on it. It's what allows you to become even more of an expert. Two, that's where you start to recognize where you are and what your knowledge is, and you're meant to be an expert. So the reason you are so curious and you have this investigator quality, yes, it provides a sense of safety and comfort for you. It can be just interesting and fun, but you're meant to be an expert on it. You're meant to develop expertise, and so you need to start being seen and witnessed in that, because it is only in that you can start to recognize the depth that you've cultivated.
Totally. So ask yourself, what do I want people asking me about? What information do I want to share, ideally? What do I want to study more so? Even without judgment. First lines, don't judge the things that you're curious about. There's a reason why you have certain fascination, even if it's just a passing craze for you, but just paying attention to that so that you can be prepared. Which brings us into how the 5-1 plays together.
There's so much to say about this that I was like, let's go into this example, but it's like, that's what we have human design training for. Right now, we want to give you the core points. And so the 5-1. So the way I think of the 5-1 is, okay, so you have this first line, this investigator. So who are you meant to share with? You're meant to share on this larger and personal stage. How do you know what your solutions are as a 5th line? How do you know what problems you're meant to solve? Go into what you're being drawn in. In your process of investigating, in your process of learning, you're going to start to see things that are obvious to you, that are holes. You'll start to develop this knowledge and want to share it. So I met recently at a retreat that I was at, a 5-1 who is a physical therapist. And he has been studying and working with people, reading in the knowledge, learning from teachers, and he keeps looking, there's a better way to do this. There's a better way to fix this, and no one else seems to be doing it. That's what he's here to solve. I have a solution that will benefit everyone or benefit a lot of people. And I can know that because I've been reading and investigating so much and it's missing. 5-1s, you're here to take that and to influence.
Yeah, so ask yourself, am I in the solution bringer phase? Do I see a better way of doing things that I'm here to universalize in some way? Or am I in the research phase? You will be in one or the other. One quality about the 5 is that you have this innate sense of the timing of when are people ready for a specific message to take hold. So think of it like a scorpion that like waits and poises its tail and then like stings. So that's the 5th line. It can't always be stinging. It kind of moves back and forth. And when you're not in the phase of bringing your message or your transformative or mutative truth, you're in a place of researching, and give yourself that permission to be a researcher, a studier, an investigator.
Nadia, is there anything we want to share about the 5-1s before we close this?
And just that it's a beautiful, beautiful profile, and it can sometimes be misunderstood by others because they see what you can solve. They see how knowledgeable and capable you are. To really spend time connecting in with your strategy and your authority, which you can learn more about in the different energy type videos that we have, or get a guidebook or a reading from us, or join our training to learn more.
If you love what we're teaching and our vibe and you want to connect with us more, we each have our own individual podcasts. Mine's the Wild River podcast. Nadia's is The Current. We talk about spirituality and personal development generally, and join us there. We'd love to hear from you.